The drama surrounding Indiana's playoff push didn't arrive as a miracle three or a last-second whistle. It came as a mantra, a bruising, blowout, and a locker room that refused to flinch. By the time the Fever walked into Washington, their season looked like a patchwork quilt. Caitlyn Clark, out after just 13 games with a torn groin. Sophie Cunningham, knee. Khloe Bby, knee. Sydney Coulson, sidelined. Ari McDonald, foot. 5 names, 5 holes in the rotation. 18 different. Players had suited up. The roster felt less like a depth chart and more like a moving train people were trying to jump onto. Most teams crash under that kind of strain. Indiana made it a test. Steph White didn't mash panic buttons. She pared things down, simplified, streamlined, asked the group to be flexible enough to make space for different types of teams, as the season kept reshaping around them. And the players answered. "We just kept getting better, and we kept getting tougher, and we kept becoming more resilient," they said inside that room. The foundation hardened. Defend, rebound, run together. Washington. Didn't feel like a coronation. It felt like a question. Could the Fever hold their ground without Clark, Cunningham, McDonald, Bby, and Coulson? The first half wobbled, nerves tugging at every possession. Then came the turn. 9 points allowed in the third quarter. 9. Passing lanes smothered. Drives cut off at the elbows. A team that had been told it should be unraveling instead tightened every screw. The run didn't come off a single star. It came in waves. Natasha Howard poured in a game-high 17, bullying the rim and punishing late rotations. Aerial Powers arrived. Like a spark plug, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, flipping energy when the game begged for it. Shea Petty stayed perfect from deep. Kelsey Mitchell, even on an off-shooting night, steadied the backcourt and gave the offense a spine. Lexi Hull did everything you don't see in headlines, diving on the floor, turning defense into runouts, hitting when it mattered, and walked off with the team's best plus-minus. And at the center of all of it was Aliyah Boston, again. 12 points, 11 boards, 5 assists. Another double-double, the 17th of her season. A franchise record that speaks to more than production. It speaks to presence. When she sat, the floor felt lighter. When she played, it tilted. Baseline. Jumpers, second chance finishes, quick reads that turned help into wide-open looks. "You never doubt yourself and what you're capable of no matter what happens," she said later. "Even if things looked like it got harder for us, it was about sticking together. Us playing with joy. Us together regardless of who's on that floor." By the time the horn sounded, Fever 94, Mystic 65, the message had outrun the score. 27 points off 22 Washington turnovers, only 6 giveaways of their own, 5 players in double figures, the kind of second-half ownership that leaves a building quiet, the kind of win that doesn't just clinch a playoff berth, it announces a standard. "Never doubt," Boston told the camera. That wasn't post-game varnish. It had been the operating system since the injuries started stacking. The Fever's next woman up philosophy wasn't a slogan. They'd proven it. Odyssey Sims flying in, Shea Petty stepping into minutes, Aerial Powers carving a role. The roster might change. The identity wouldn't. It's easy to say culture. It's harder to prove it under lights. But the proof kept showing up in details. Third quarter suffocation. The way White's group married effort with execution. We owned them in the second half. The way a locker room that should have fractured only fused tighter. The way Boston balanced celebration with the grind. Yes, there was a laugh about not making a TikTok. Then a pivot. Another game on Tuesday. Preparation for the playoffs. Be where your feet are. The context sharpened the accomplishment. This is Indiana's first back-to-back postseason since 2015 and 2016. They did it without Clark, without 4 more core guards, with a revolving door that could have been an excuse. Instead, it turned into a forge. Hull and Petty took on roles nobody predicted in October. Howard and Powers brought veteran ballast. Mitchell and Boston went from rising pieces to proven anchors. It's why White could look around the room and talk about roots, what had grown beneath the surface while everyone outside was staring at the injury report. The standings won't do them any favors. Round 1 will be brutal. Atlanta, Las Vegas, or Phoenix. 2 of 3 on the road in a best of 3. On paper, that's a trap. But the Fever have already taken bites out of those teams during the grind with the same short-handed rotation. And there's something else coming back to Indianapolis that changes the temperature of the building. A guaranteed home playoff game for the first time since 2016. Nearly a decade since Gainbridge Fieldhouse held a postseason moment that mattered. Fans earned this. The team did too. The larger question lives beyond the bracket. What if this season of injuries was secretly a gift? What if the absence of a superstar forced a full roster to grow into belief it might not have found otherwise? The Fever didn't. Learn how to lean on one player. They learned how to shoulder weight together. They didn't just survive. They became harder to scout, less predictable, more balanced. 5 double figures in a clincher isn't a fluke. It's a profile. That's why Boston's words hit like they did. It's why her line, numbers and leadership, lands as blueprint instead of box score. We never doubted we could be in the playoffs, she said. The tape agrees. The team that looked like it should be unraveling under hardship signings and lost production never lost its shape. It found it, and in doing so, it stretched the arc of the franchise forward. The Fever marched out of Washington with more than a berth. They carried a question for the rest of the league. If this is what they look like while stitched together, what happens? When they're whole again? What convinced you this group is built for the fight, the third quarter chokehold, the 5 scores and double figures, or Boston's steady pulse at the center of all of it? Drop your take below, and if you're riding with the Fever, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter.